My name is Katherine Donnelly. I am Director of Operations at True Gear, and I am a TBI survivor. I have been a skier for pretty much my entire life. Ever since I really could walk, my mom threw me on some skis, and the rest is history. As soon as I turned 5, I was able to join my local race team in Vermont, and from there I started racing competitively through high school and into college. And really, it wasn't until college that I started to realize that there is more to skiing than just racing. My eyes were opened and I realized that big mountain and free ride were a thing. And yeah, I think my heart immediately jumped over to that boat, and I just fell in love with, kind of using the mountain and the snow as my canvas and not having to stick to a course or anything. I think Squaw Valley really stood out to me as kind of that mecca, and I immediately booked a trip with a friend and his family for spring break, and we went out there. It's eye-opening to come from the East Coast and go out to those big mountains and really have a West Coast ski experience, and this was my first time. And yeah, I may have overdone it a little bit. Within 24 hours, I went and sustained 3 separate impacts to my head, all to my right temple. That was definitely a life-changing event. Things have really not been the same since then. Believe it or not, I was wearing a helmet, but I did hit kind of to the side of my face in the goggle area, and it was more of that repetition, and what now I know that it's called second impact syndrome, but I didn't take the necessary time to rest and recover after that first hit, and the second hit just did so much damage. It wasn't really until the next week that I realized just how serious the damage was that I had done. Really, that first week I flew home. I was feeling great, maybe a couple headaches here and there, but I felt okay until I started going back to classes and went to my first class, which was at 8 a.m. And oh man, I think I blacked out probably 10 minutes in, just trying to take notes, and my brain couldn't handle it. And I came to kind of as class was coming to a close, and turned to my friend who was sitting next to me, and she's like, I think I might have to go to the hospital. Like, something's seriously wrong with me. And from there, it just started to spiral more and more. Every day, there was more and more symptoms, and things just got harder and harder to just get through. I went to the ER. I went to see multiple doctors, neurologists and specialists. Only information that they gave me was that I had a concussion and that I would feel better in a few weeks. But it really wasn't until like 6 or 7 months after the fact that the symptoms started to get worse, to the point where, I really couldn't do much. I started sleeping about 18 to 20 hours a day. I couldn't go to classes. I couldn't go outside in sunlight. It wasn't until a year later that I finally was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. And from there, that was kind of the beginning of a real recovery, now that we kind of had an idea of what was wrong. Unfortunately, recovering from a brain injury is not so cut and dry. Every brain injury is different. Everyone's symptoms are, across the board. And so it took several years after that, and I ended up actually moving to Oregon in that time for me to find a group of doctors and different therapies that actually were starting to show improvement. It was about 4 years post-injury that I was finally able to start skiing again. My doctors are, working on getting my physical and my mental sides recovered, but coming out here and skiing and being able to partake in, the sport that I love so much, that's really what's been recovering my soul. And I think, I would not be here and able to be talking to you if I hadn't been able to find a way to ski again. But I've had to rein it in and really adapt my entire life to fit around what I am capable of now. And in doing so, it's definitely made me reevaluate kind of why I'm out here, why I do what I do. And so I've kind of relearned how to ski with the mindset of, it's not about competition, and it's not about going the fastest or going the biggest. It's about having the most fun. So, sometimes I definitely want to go big, but I'd say if I get back to the car at the end of the day with a smile on my face, then it was a pretty good day. For me, backcountry skiing has become really my passion, because it's so much more than just skiing. It's about being out here. It's about the people you're with and the places that you visit. I really want to just share my story and the fact that I was wearing a helmet and I took those precautions, and this still happened to me regardless. It really just makes me wonder, what would have happened if I hadn't been wearing a helmet on that trip, and where would I be? I think if you're not going to wear a helmet for yourself, you should wear a helmet for your loved ones and the people around you, because they're the ones who are going to be your support network if something does go wrong. I think raising awareness around just the impacts of hitting your head and just how important your brain is, you don't realize just how much your brain does until it stops working correctly. 10 years later, and I'm finally at a point where I can kind of look back and see just the progress that I've made as a human being. I'm so happy with where I am today. I wouldn't trade, my job and my family and the people that I surround myself with for anything, really. And I don't think that I would have gotten to this same spot if it hadn't been for this entire journey. Helmets are cool. Wearing helmets are very cool. Wearing helmets is cool. Wearing helmets is cool. How now, brown cow?